Hosted fields allow you to embed a payment form into your application or website, fully adapting it to your design. If you're a developer, this video is for you. Here's an example of how it might look. This is a shopping cart where the Allpay payment form is embedded. It is fully responsive. To connect your website to Allpay, you need to create an integration in the Settings, API Integration section, and then use the API login and key to create payments according to our documentation, particularly the payment request section. Within the created integration, you have a choice: redirect the customer to the Allpay payment page, or use hosted fields, meaning the payment is processed directly on your website. I recommend starting with the redirect option, integrating our API, making sure it works, and only then switching to hosted fields. In the hosted field settings, you need to add the domain where they will be hosted. If you have multiple domains, they must be added on separate lines, including subdomains. You can also fully customize the CSS of the payment form. For example, you can change the font, border color, field height, replace icons, and more. A form preview is also available here. It looks exactly as it will appear on your website. The Allpay branding can be left, and we would appreciate it, or hidden if it doesn't match your design. Fast payment buttons will appear on the form automatically if the corresponding modules are enabled. The design of these buttons can also be customized. Some CSS styles may be worth keeping. For example, when entering a card number, the corresponding brand logo is automatically displayed. This is my page code. The payment form is essentially an iframe. According to the instructions, we insert the iframe into the checkout page of our website, assign it an ID, and dynamically insert the payment URL into the SRC attribute. This URL is returned by Allpay in the payment URL parameter in response to the payment creation request. You don't need to follow this code exactly. You will have your own. Next, we add a script to the page. In iframe id, we specify the ID of our frame and define what should happen in case of successful payment, on success function, or an error, on error function. The documentation provides examples with browser alerts. In my case, for a successful payment, I hide the iframe block and show a success animation. In case of an error, I display an error message block. This function also allows displaying the error text, which is very useful for conversion optimization. The form will wait for the customer to correct the issue, for example by using a different card for payment. Now, we need a button that will initiate the payment by executing the allpay.pay function. In my case, I run it alongside another function that displays a spinner on the button. This is done to prevent the customer from thinking the button click didn't work, as the payment process may take a few seconds. To test the form, I use the Allpay API Tester, our tool for testing API requests, which I highly recommend. We enter the API login, integration key, and all required parameters. We send the request and see that the payment will be processed in live mode through hosted fields. This is the URL we insert into the iframe. Now we activate test mode for the integration and send the request again. This time we see that the payment is processed in test mode. From here, you can go directly to our demo shopping cart, where hosted fields are embedded. The form loads successfully and is ready for payment. If we pass a value in the installment parameter, for example, allowing the customer to split the payment into up to 5 installments, an additional section will appear on the form for selecting the number of payments. You can also control the form language using the lang parameter, and manage the display of fast payment buttons through the relevant parameters. However, as I mentioned earlier, make sure that these payment methods are enabled in the Modules section of your Allpay dashboard. To complete the payment, we use a test card. A spinner appears on the button, followed by a successful payment message. The customer remains on your website, and you can redirect them further or execute any necessary actions according to your business logic. The completed payment can be seen on the Allpay home screen. If we click on the API label, we can view the request and response details.